But for a box like this, with the materials that I'm using, since I'm having to use spray paint just to show an example of how to spray paint a box, I actually covered the entire thing. That's all glazing putty, all that red stuff everywhere, but we're going to have to sand it off. But what glazing putty does is it gets into very, very, very small hairline scratches and your little divots and things. But the great thing about this is it's really easy to sand. You're going to all do it by hand too. No mechanical tools for these last stages of sanding. And I really, guys, I don't care what anybody tells you. In your last stages of sanding, you do it by hand. Don't ever use any kind of mechanical tool to do your finished sanding. But you really got to just play this all by your eyesight. You have to really look close. And notice I've sanded nearly all of this stuff up. But you can see the, you know, the little red dots and things like that. You can still kind of see them in the camera. Up close you can see little bitty cracks and things where it's filled in. But that glazing putty really helps out. There's a little bit closer of a shot, but now I'm going to hit it again with this silver coat here. Notice the motions I'm using too. I start spraying on the outside of the box. I'm not actually starting to spray on the box. I'm starting to spray just from the outside and then coming onto the box, and then I'll stop spraying after the flow of paint has already gotten off the other side of the box. You don't want to start and stop, or start, stop, either one on the box. And now I'm going to actually sand this down with a pretty fine grit paper. And I'm going to go back over it in that same silver. And this right here is just my undercoat. And I'm using it because the final color is going to be white. And it'll help it pop just a little bit more. It'll help that white out. Plus, the more coats of paint I have, the better it's going to look at the end. Because these coats of paint in between here are helping fill any scratches. And this right here is just a tack cloth, just wiping it down. And here's my white, my first coat of white. Doing it real light. Notice again the pattern of spray here. Start on the outside in thin air, end in thin air. Go real light on it. You don't want to get heavy. You do not want any runs or anything like that, because if you do, you're gonna have to sand them out. It's gonna ruin the whole plane of everything. And this is just a nice can of automotive paint, automotive spray paint. Speed this process up for you here. I think I actually use 3 cans of this stuff to paint the box. See that? It came out really nice. It's kind of hard to see in this video because it's just hard to see things in video, I guess, but I mean, the coat that's on there is just immaculate. I mean, you really could not tell the difference between a professional spray gun and spray paint if you do it right. There's a lot more steps involved if you're not using professional spray guns, but you don't need them. You don't have to have them. This makes it a lot easier and a lot more convenient. Instead of actually having to buy a pneumatic spray gun, because they can be pretty pricey if you can't start out right off the bat with buying your own rig. Now my paint's done, so I'm going to carpet the bottom and the back of this box. Go ahead and tack the back up really well. Top to bottom, insides, everything. I'm just going to stretch this up. Run your hand up there, stretch it, make sure it's all flattened out real well. Repeat the process on the back. I'm going to take my carpet knife here. You're going to really have to just watch and feel for this blade. Of course you're not going to feel for the blade, but you have to pay close attention when you're doing this, because there's no easy way to do it. You just have to freehand it. I'll speed this up for you here. It's pretty obvious what I'm doing. I'm just cutting the carpet. And over here you can see, maybe when this slows down a little bit, there's little frills and things hanging off after you cut the carpet. You can actually just try to pull them off, tuck them down, or you can burn them off. If you just have a lighter, just run a quick flame over them and it'll shrink it down. Make sure everything on your box is dry though. You don't have any resin sitting out near it. You don't want to explode. Now I'm just running caulk all through the inside of this thing. Send a wire through